Dad told me to step aside for his favorite son. If you don't like it, leave. So I did, and he regretted it fast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reddit Family Stories. I'm your host, and today I've got a story that literally had me stressed the entire time I was reading it. This is one of those situations where you watch someone's entire life pivot in a way that's almost hard to believe actually happened. So here's the setup. We're talking about a man in his early 30s who just got completely blindsided by his own father. And the crazy part? His dad basically told him to take a hike if he didn't like it. So he did. And that's when things got really interesting. If you've been watching this channel, you know family businesses can get messy. Real messy. But this one's got betrayal, broken trust, revenge that's actually justified, and a comeback story that'll make you believe in karma. Before we dive in, if you're into wild family drama and messed up situations, hit that subscribe button. We post new stories every week, and honestly, the internet has no shortage of people with stories that'll make you go, wait, what? All right, let me set the scene for you. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus is 32 years old, and he spent the last 9 years working at his family's logistics company. And I'm not talking about some glamorous startup. This is a real grinding day-to-day operation. Freight management, shipping logistics, the kind of business where you're dealing with trucks, routes, contracts, and driver schedules at 2 in the morning. Marcus literally started from the bottom. And I mean from the actual bottom. He was physically loading boxes onto trucks, doing overnight shifts in beat-up vehicles, answering emergency calls when drivers miss checkpoints. The kind of work that breaks your back and teaches you the business from the ground up. Over the years, he climbed. He moved into accounting, then logistics planning, then management. And for the past 3 years, he's basically been running the show. Payroll, customer relationships, fleet upgrades, all of it. His dad, the original founder, started becoming more hands-off, which made sense. The guy had built something from nothing, so maybe it was time to step back. Marcus figured he was next in line. He thought his dad saw him as a collaborator, maybe even a successor. They had that kind of relationship where his dad would sit in meetings, nod along, smile, and let Marcus do the talking. It felt like validation, you know? Like Marcus was the future. Turns out he was just keeping the seat warm. One Monday morning, Marcus gets a text from his dad. Early morning meeting before everyone else arrives. Nothing unusual, right? They'd done this before during busy seasons, but this time felt different. The tone was different, more formal, more rehearsed. Marcus walks in with his coffee, and his dad is already sitting at his desk, fingers intertwined, looking super serious. And then Marcus sees who else is in the room. His younger brother. Let's call him Kyle. Kyle is 26. Kyle just graduated. And here's the kicker. Kyle has been way more interested in Bitcoin and Instagram influencer marketing than he has in learning anything about logistics. Marcus even said Kyle had that kind of fake smile he always used when he was bullshitting his way through something. The same smile he used when he forgot Marcus's birthday and pretended there was some texting mix-up. Marcus sits down and his dad drops the bomb. We've been thinking about the future. I want you to start training Kyle. Show him the accounts, the systems, customer relationships. Eventually, Kyle will take over operations while you handle strategy. Take over operations. Marcus's job. His actual day-to-day role that he's been killing himself over for 9 years. Marcus is sitting there trying to process this. Did he hear that right? And his dad is like, yeah, it's a natural transition. Meanwhile, Kyle is smirking like he's already won the lottery. Kyle literally says something like, "Don't worry, bro, I won't mess it up. Much." This guy has been on the job for negative days, and he's already acting like he deserves it. Marcus doesn't explode. He doesn't flip the table or anything dramatic. He just nods, plays the good son, and walks out feeling like his stomach is in a knot. Over the next few days, Marcus tries to convince himself he misunderstood. Maybe his dad didn't mean it that way. But the more he thinks about it, the more obvious it becomes. This isn't a collaboration. This is a demotion. And then Kyle just starts acting like he owns the place. He's walking around asking interns where the energy drinks are. He's wearing this new expensive watch like it's going to help him understand freight management. Meanwhile, Marcus is still doing all the actual work, still solving problems, still keeping everything running. But where's the explanation from his dad? Where's the, "Hey Marcus, you're still the anchor here, this is just temporary"? That conversation never happens. Instead, Kyle gets a brand new office. And Marcus goes to his office one day and finds it full of Amazon boxes, gaming chairs, LED lights. His nameplate is just gone. They repainted his office without even asking him. Marcus could have snapped, should have maybe made a scene. But he didn't. He kept showing up. He arrived early, stayed late, answered all of Kyle's questions because Kyle was completely clueless about basic business operations. Marcus was basically running two jobs at this point, his actual work and training the guy who was replacing him. Why? Because he loved the business. Maybe he didn't even know who he was without it. 8 days. That's how long Kyle lasted before he totally screwed up. Kyle accidentally terminates a contract with one of their oldest clients. Let's call them Shannon Freight Lines. This wasn't some random customer. Shannon had been with them since Marcus and Kyle's high school days. This was a family-run business, really loyal, the kind of client that stuck around even during rough winters when other companies bailed. Shannon trusted Marcus. They had relationships built on respect and handshake deals that actually meant something. Kyle, trying to be some kind of tech genius, finds this AI routing tool on an expensive SAS marketplace. He decides to optimize Shannon's routes using this software. But the optimization is terrible. It sends their trucks directly into a storm zone. 2 trucks go off the road. One driver ends up in the hospital with a fractured leg. Shannon calls Marcus furious. And when Marcus tries to smooth things over, he finds out that Kyle has already sent Shannon an email with a GIF, an actual GIF of some guy shrugging. And the message says something like, "We live and learn." Marcus feels absolutely humiliated. He immediately calls his dad, basically panicking. "This is horrible. We're going to lose Shannon. They're one of our most reliable clients." And his dad's response? "Kyle's learning. Give him some slack." Marcus actually laughs, out loud, because if Marcus had done the same thing at Kyle's age, his dad would have had his head on a platter. But Kyle? Kyle gets patience. Kyle gets understanding. Marcus says, "You're not being fair. You would have killed me for this when I was 26. And his dad says something that just cuts through everything. "You're not 26 anymore. You're 32. You should be able to deal with your brother's inexperience." That's when Marcus finally gets it. This isn't about giving Kyle an opportunity. This is about making Marcus carry him. This is about Marcus cleaning up Kyle's messes forever, while Kyle takes credit for anything that works. Over the next week, things get worse. Reports that Marcus used to review now go to Kyle. Clients Marcus has managed for years get reassigned. Marcus's email access gets limited. And then Marcus finds out about a meeting with investors, the quarterly update, and he only discovers it by seeing it on Kyle's calendar. A meeting for the lead operator. That used to be Marcus's title. So Marcus decides to have a conversation with his dad. They go to this little Greek restaurant that's been their hangout for years. They've shared so many meals here, so many inside jokes, so much history. This time his dad is all business. Cold. Different. Marcus puts down his fork and asks straight up, "Am I being phased out?" His dad doesn't even blink, doesn't look surprised. He just says, "Not phased out, repositioned." Marcus calls him out on the corporate talk. "You mean phased out?" His dad gets irritated. "Don't be theatrical, Marcus. You're still part of the vision." Kyle just brings a fresh perspective. He's young, understands technology, investors like that. But he doesn't respect the business, Marcus says. He's treating this like it's a TikTok trend. His dad leans back in his chair. You've had your time, Marcus. Maybe it's time to step aside and let someone else have a shot. The words hit like a physical thing. You've had your time. Like Marcus is some relic being boxed up and sent to a museum. Like 9 years of blood and sweat and sacrifice amounts to, what? A phase? A trial run? That night, Marcus stays at the office alone. Lights off. Just the sound of the vending machine. He walks through the warehouse like a ghost, touching the workstations, the whiteboards, the conference room chairs, all still warm from the day's meetings and coffee-fueled brainstorming. He built all of this. His fingerprints are literally everywhere. And now, he feels like a stranger in his own home. 3 days later, Marcus walks into the office and finds his team gathered around Kyle in the break room. Kyle's handing out cupcakes. Cupcakes. Kyle's grinning. Promotion cupcakes, everyone. Dad made it official. I'm chief of operations now. The room goes silent when they see Marcus. Someone actually moves out of the way, like Marcus walked into the wrong meeting. Marcus is staring at Kyle like, what? Kyle's still grinning. Oh yeah, Dad wanted to tell you, but it was kind of a last-minute decision. I'm officially in charge of operations now. Pretty cool, right? Marcus doesn't move, doesn't say anything. He just turns and walks straight into his dad's office. You made him chief of operations? Marcus asks. His voice is calm but quiet, controlled. His dad looks up from his laptop, unsurprised, like he knew this moment was coming. Yes, it had to happen eventually. Better to rip the Band-Aid off, his dad says. You don't rip the Band-Aid off someone who's bleeding out, Marcus says. You fix them first. This isn't a business decision. This is a family decision, pretending to be a business decision, and you didn't even bother with the disguise. His dad stands up and walks around his desk. If this is about titles and ego, it's about respect, Marcus interrupts, pointing at the door. Kyle has never worked a night shift, never lost sleep over a delayed shipment. He didn't even know what net 30 terms meant until last week. His dad's expression tightens. You don't get to question my decisions, Marcus. This is my company. You work here because I allow you to. There it is. 9 years of work, commitment, sacrifice, reduced to permission and a favor. Marcus takes a breath. His heart is pounding, but he doesn't hesitate. Then let me make this easy for you, Marcus says. I quit. His dad raises an eyebrow. You're serious? You said I had my time, Marcus says. Fine. Enjoy the future. And Marcus leaves. No dramatic exit. No smashing things. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that means everything has changed. He doesn't sleep that night. His phone is buzzing nonstop. Friends worried. Co-workers concerned. Kyle even sends him a meme of someone waving goodbye with text that says, "Don't let the door hit you." Marcus doesn't respond to any of it. He stares at the ceiling until morning, wondering what he just did and who he is without that company. The first week after quitting is rough. Netflix. Takeout. Ignoring calls from people he's not ready to talk to. His apartment, which used to be just a place to crash between 12-hour workdays, suddenly feels like a prison. Marcus feels restless, angry, lost. He keeps replaying that last conversation with his dad. You work here because I allow you to. Like everything Marcus did was meaningless. Like he was just some glorified intern whose existence his dad tolerated. And here's the thing. It's not even the betrayal that's the worst part. It's the identity crisis. For years, Marcus was the company. People respected him. They trusted his decisions. Now he's a guy in sweatpants watching cooking shows he doesn't even like, wondering what the hell his life even is. The worst part, knowing that Kyle is probably sitting at Marcus's desk with his feet up, acting like he earned it, acting like any of this is his. But then something shifts. It happens slowly, but it starts changing. Tyler, the head of fleet maintenance, sends Marcus a text. 5 words. You didn't deserve that, dude. That one message breaks something open inside Marcus. Then other messages start coming in. Sophia from accounting, Olivia from customer service, some of the younger dispatchers. They all mention the same things. The company feels different now. Things are getting sloppy. Kyle's outsourcing work to people who don't understand the business. Morale is in the floor. At first, Marcus doesn't know what to do with this information. He's not going to beg to get his job back. That's not who he is. But something else starts brewing. Something quieter than anger. Something more focused. If they don't want him at the table, he'll make his own table. Around 2 in the morning on a Tuesday, Marcus is on his laptop looking at job boards when he sees an advertisement for a freight brokerage training program. He doesn't need the program, he could teach it, but it sparks something. A thought that won't let go. What if he doesn't try to get hired at another company? What if he starts his own? The more Marcus thinks about it, the more it makes sense. He knows the logistics industry inside and out. He knows where the inefficiencies are. He knows which customers are getting overcharged. He knows which drivers are underpaid. He knows who's being overlooked. He knows who would follow him if he had something to offer. He doesn't need some fancy office or warehouse yet. Not yet. Just a laptop, a phone, a plan. That night, Marcus opens a blank document and titles it Phase 1. Marcus starts reaching out. Not to poach people. Not yet. He just wants to understand what people need. What they're looking for. What's missing. He calls Shannon Freight Lines first. Remember them? The ones whose driver got hurt because of Kyle's stupid routing software? Yeah, them. The owner, Claire Sullivan, sounds exhausted when she picks up. Marcus? Is that you? It's me, Marcus says. Just checking in. I heard about the driver. Is he okay? Broken femur, Claire says. He's going to recover, but it's a long road ahead. Marcus pauses. Look, if you're still looking for a new logistics partner, I'm working on something. Nothing official yet. But if I could create something better, smaller, more attentive to details, would you be interested? There's a long pause. Then Claire says something that's all Marcus needs. You built that company with us, Marcus. I'll be your first client. With that vote of confidence, Marcus takes a personal loan from his old college roommate, Adam, and founds his own logistics company. He calls it Forge Logistics. It feels symbolic. He's not inheriting anything. He's forging something completely new. The next few weeks are brutal. Marcus works at a folding table in his tiny living room. No secretary. No fancy CRM software. Just spreadsheets, phone calls, and pure willpower. He negotiates contracts with independent drivers he's met over the years. He builds a basic shipment tracking website using open source software. He handles every single invoice, every call, every client request himself. It's exhausting, but it's all his. Here's what's weird about starting from scratch. People start seeing you differently. Old colleagues who thought of Marcus as Mr. Reliable suddenly see him as an underdog. People love an underdog, especially when they have a reason to be frustrated with the other guy. Within 8 weeks, Marcus has 4 clients. Not huge contracts, but solid ones. Companies that were basically neglected when Kyle took over. One client even sends Marcus an email chain showing Kyle trying to use ChatGPT to create a shipping schedule. And the output is completely wrong. Kyle created a freight route that makes no sense. Marcus saves a screenshot. But it's not all victories. Marcus makes mistakes. He forgets a follow-up with a client and almost loses the business. His Wi-Fi goes out during an important Zoom pitch, and he has to finish the presentation from a Starbucks parking lot in the rain. But here's the difference. He owns it. All of it. The wins and the losses. He's not a stand-in for some golden child with an Instagram obsession. He's the person actually in the arena getting his hands dirty. Then one day, Marcus sees Kyle in public for the first time since he left. Marcus is walking out of a supply store when he sees Kyle across the parking lot getting into a new Audi. Kyle's adjusting his designer sunglasses before starting the engine. Kyle still thinks he won. And something about Kyle's complete obliviousness, flips a switch in Marcus. He doesn't confront him. He just goes back to his car and starts writing down a list. Not of people to target, but of systems, inefficiencies, vendors who have been mistreated, clients who left, drivers who burned out, pressure points in the operation. Marcus isn't going to sabotage anything. That's not the goal. The goal is to outwork them, to outlast them. Because while Kyle is editing his LinkedIn profile and attending business expos, Marcus is in the trenches, rebuilding from the ground up. And every contract Marcus signs, every email he writes, every mile driven by one of his partner drivers, it all moves Marcus closer to something he hasn't let himself imagine yet. A day when Kyle realizes that respect can't be inherited, that loyalty isn't automatic, that you can't fake leadership with cupcake parties and job titles you didn't actually earn. By month 3, Forge Logistics isn't just surviving, it's thriving. 8 regular clients, 2 part-time virtual assistants, a tight-knit group of freelance drivers who actually want to work with Marcus. They're not flashy, no neon signs, no branded company pens, but they're fast, reliable, and honest. No AI-generated scheduling that's completely wrong. No tone-deaf memes. No stupid executives attending pointless meetings while trucks sit idle. Marcus has systems. He has discipline. Most importantly, he has trust. And that's when he starts thinking bigger. This isn't just about business. This is about justice. Here's where things get interesting. For the first 2 months, Marcus is just focused on survival, getting Forge off the ground, proving to himself that leaving wasn't a crazy decision. But success has a weird way of changing your perspective. As the noise quiets down, all Marcus can see are the cracks forming in his old company, the empire he used to serve. It starts with murmurs, random messages from former co-workers who still check in. Brandon is cutting corners. He's outsourcing work to people who don't understand the business. He hired a social media manager before updating the ancient shipping tracking system. One driver tells Marcus he had to pay for his own gas reimbursement because Kyle's team didn't have the right documentation. Then the real opportunity comes 3 weeks later. Marcus has lunch with Sophia, the accounting manager from his old company. She's sharp as a scalpel, one of the few people from the old place Marcus still trusts. She looks exhausted, anxious in a way Marcus hasn't seen before. "Things are bad," Sophia says before Marcus even sits down. "And I mean bad, Marcus. Really bad." Marcus raises an eyebrow. "Worse than the Shannon freight thing." "Way worse," Sophia says. She's not laughing. They lost 2 major contracts last week. One of them was Boywood Construction. Kyle promised them a fleet upgrade he couldn't deliver. They completely pulled out. Full exit. Burwood. That's like 30% of their Q2 revenue. With imported supplies, maybe even 40%. Who did Kyle blame? Marcus asks. "Me," Sophia says flatly. "He told your dad that I overestimated the budget for equipment. Never mind that I warned him 3 times in writing." Marcus stares at her. "He warned you." "And deleted the warnings," Sophia says. "He forwarded my emails to your dad, but deleted the parts where I said this wouldn't work. Your dad either believed him or chose to believe him. I honestly don't know which is worse." That's when something clicks for Marcus. They're not just in over their heads. They're desperate. Drowning. That night, Marcus sits at his desk for hours. Phone face down. He stares at a spreadsheet. Not a financial one. A list of people, trends, pressure points, vulnerabilities. It's time to stop surviving. It's time to move strategically. The first thing Marcus needs is information. Real leverage. He already has a solid network. Former clients. Former co-workers. Vendors who are tired of dealing with Kyle's influencer energy, as one supplier puts it. But Marcus needs more than complaints. He needs actual ammunition. So Marcus reaches out to Marco. Marco's been the systems administrator for over a decade. Quiet guy. Usually wears the same gray hoodie. Severely underpaid. Basically invisible to Kyle's new management. But Marcus always treated Marco with respect. Brought him coffee during server maintenance. Sat with him through late-night security upgrades. They had trust. Marcus meets Marco at a dimly lit pub on a Thursday night. The kind of place where the music is too quiet and the drinks are too strong. "I heard you're doing your own thing now," Marco says, nursing a whiskey. "I am," Marcus replies, "and I heard you're dealing with Kyle's tech disasters." Marco smirks. This guy thinks HTML is a form of cloud storage. They both laugh. Then Marcus leans in. "I need help," Marcus says. "I'm not asking you to do anything illegal. But if you happen to know about any vulnerabilities in the system, or backups of deleted documents, or audit logs from the last quarter, hypothetically speaking." Marco doesn't say yes right away, but 3 days later, Marcus gets a secure zip file in his email. It's labeled lunch notes. Inside, everything. Email chains, transaction records, client communications, mistakes that got covered up, promises that were made but never kept. And there's even a voice recording. Kyle yelling at someone on the phone, calling a client a boomer with trucker brain because they questioned his modernization. Marcus hasn't done anything with it yet. That's not the point. The point is control. Next, Marcus starts having quiet conversations. Coffee meetings, dinners, parking lot talks. No pressure. No sales pitch. Just, "Let me know if you ever need something different." Some are curious. A few already know about Forge. But Marcus is waiting for the tipping point. It comes from someone unexpected. Her name is Natalie Haynes. She's a procurement manager for a mid-sized agricultural supply company. Marcus worked with her at the old firm. She's outspoken, aggressive, zero tolerance for corporate BS. They actually had a disagreement once about a late shipment, but they handled it like adults. She respected that. Natalie calls Marcus out of nowhere. "I heard you weren't dead," she says. "Not yet," Marcus says. "Trying to stay that way." "I have a problem," Natalie says. "Your brother promised me a 3-day turnaround on animal feed supplies. I got it in 6 days. Then he had the audacity to suggest I adjust my expectations because he was altering the paradigm." "What does that even mean?" "It means he's drowning," Marcus says, "and he's pretending it's performance art." Natalie laughs. "Email me your pricing. If you can promise delivery in 5 days or less, you've got our business." That's the crack Marcus needs. He puts everything he has into delivering for her, nails every single delivery, sends personalized updates, regular check-ins. Natalie is impressed. And Natalie has friends. Within 3 weeks, 3 of her industry connections reach out. They all have similar stories. Everyone is hungry for something better. Word starts spreading. But Kyle doesn't notice. He's too busy posting motivational quotes on LinkedIn and organizing corporate ping-pong tournaments. Marcus's dad notices, though. His dad calls out of nowhere. "Marcus," he says, being careful with his words, "I hear you're working with several of our clients." "They're not your clients," Marcus says quietly. "They're clients. They go where the service is." "You understand this isn't a game," his dad says. "You're burning bridges." "No," Marcus replies. "You burned the bridges when you chose a slogan on a sweatshirt over the person who built your foundation." His dad exhales. "I never intended it to be this way." "Then you shouldn't have lit the match," Marcus says. And Marcus hangs up. Then he accelerates everything. Marcus launches a new client portal, hires another assistant, pays drivers above market rates, treats them like partners, not resources. The final piece is visibility. Marcus reaches out to a local business podcast. He's done a guest appearance for them before, so they owe him a favor. Marcus pitches them a story. A guy who left his family company to start his own. They love it. They tape it in one take. Marcus doesn't mention any names. Doesn't trash anybody. He just tells the truth. Loyalty isn't always reciprocal. Leadership is earned, not given. Vision means nothing without execution. The episode airs the next week. By the following Monday, Marcus's inbox has 70 new inquiries. His old company just posted their worst quarter in 6 years. But Marcus isn't finished. Not yet. Everything up until now was just the foundation. The real move is about to happen. It happens on a Tuesday. On purpose. Midweek. Calm. Right before his father's company's quarterly review meeting. The exact kind of meeting Marcus used to run before Kyle made it to the office 15 minutes late because of an email filter issue. It's been 8 months. 8 months since Marcus walked out with nothing but pride and silence. 8 months of starting from zero. Watching Kyle bumble through Marcus's old job, burning bridges faster than he could build them. Meanwhile, Marcus's father is standing behind Kyle, arms folded like everything is fine. But suddenly everything is very wrong. Forge Logistics has exploded. It's no longer the scrappy underdog operation. It's the real deal now. 20 clients, a warehouse lease in progress, 2 delivery fleets under contract, a team of dispatchers and planners, a reputation they didn't have to market because the work speaks for itself. Marcus's old company is bleeding. They've lost about half their long-term contracts. 2 major investors backed out. Driver retention is the lowest it's ever been. The books are a mess. Kyle can't navigate the web of overlapping vendor agreements, variable payment terms, and sloppy invoicing. They're vulnerable. But Marcus doesn't want to kick them while they're down. Not visibly. He wants something more elegant. So Marcus asks his dad to lunch. His dad is surprised to hear from him. They sit down at the same Greek restaurant where they've shared dozens of meals, where his dad told Marcus he'd had his time. "I thought we should talk," Marcus says casually, biting into his food. "See how things are going." "Brandon's been adjusting," his dad says quietly. Marcus doesn't react, just gives him a tight-lipped smile. His dad looks up. "I've heard about Forge. You're doing great." "Better than great," Marcus says. "We're growing. Fast." His dad shifts uncomfortably. Marcus can see it in his eyes. The creeping realization that Marcus isn't here to reminisce. He's here to show something. Marcus leans forward. "I have a proposal for you. A way out." "Out of what?" his dad asks. "Your mess," Marcus says bluntly. "You lost more than $1.5 million in contracts this quarter. Your investors are nervous. Your employee retention is destroying your operational consistency. And Kyle isn't a leader. He's a liability." His dad's jaw tightens. He doesn't interrupt. "I'm willing to buy out 2 of your largest remaining accounts," Marcus continues. "They've already approached me. They just wanted to know how clean the split would be. I'll make it painless, generous. You take the cash and figure out what's left. Rebrand, restructure, whatever. It doesn't matter to me." "You're trying to gut us," his dad says quietly. "No," Marcus replies. "I'm giving you a chance to save something. Because if I wanted to gut you, I'd just let Kyle keep going." They sit in silence for a moment. His dad looks at Marcus, actually looks at him, and for the first time, Marcus sees something in his expression that isn't arrogance or contempt. He sees fear, but his dad isn't ready to surrender. Not yet. "I'll talk to Kyle," he says stiffly. "We'll consider your offer." Marcus nods. "Do that." But Marcus already knows he won't. So Marcus prepares for the final move. Marcus sends the materials Marco provided, the damning email chains, transaction logs, audio recordings, to one of the remaining investors, but not anonymously. Marcus signs his name. Includes a cover letter expressing concerns about mismanagement, incompetence, and ethical red flags that threaten not just operations, but legal stability. The investor replies within hours. Thank you for your transparency. We'll conduct an internal audit immediately. The next morning, 3 senior staff members quit. Kyle posts a vague, optimistic LinkedIn status about restructuring with purpose. The following week, 2 more clients jump ship. They join Forge. Then comes the board meeting. Marcus isn't invited. He doesn't need to be. Sophia texts him after. He's gone. They're removing Kyle from operations. The board voted 4-1. Marcus stares at that text for a long time. Not because he's shocked, but because of that one person who voted to keep Kyle. His dad. He went down with the ship, even though the ship was already sinking. But Kyle doesn't leave quietly. 3 days later, Kyle storms into Marcus's workplace. He's red in the face, practically vibrating with rage. Marcus's crew stops what they're doing. They're taken aback by the interruption. Marcus stands up, motions for Kyle to step into the hallway, and closes the glass door behind them. You think you've won? Kyle snarls. You think this is yours now. When Marcus looks at Kyle, all he sees is a kid drowning in a pool he was never trained to swim in. I don't have to think it, Marcus says. I built it. You tried to play founder and got buried in the first 8 months. That's not winning or losing. That's just reality. You sabotaged me, Kyle says. No, Marcus replies quietly. You sabotaged yourself. I just stopped saving you. Kyle opens his mouth to respond. But Marcus turns and walks away, leaving him standing there in a silence that's thick with defeat. The consequences spread fast. The audit results come out within a month. Investors sue for deception. Customers demand refunds. Vendors cut ties. Marcus's dad tries to restore control, but it's too late. The damage is irreversible. They sell off what they can. Cut the workforce down to skeleton crew. Within 3 months, the company is closed. No press releases. No headlines. Just silence. Where a business used to exist, there's now a ghost. Marcus doesn't dance on the grave. Doesn't post cryptic social media stuff. Doesn't brag in interviews. That wasn't the point. The point was clarity. Freedom. Truth. One evening, Marcus is sitting in his actual office. Not a folding table anymore. An actual office. Outside his door, his crew is laughing, sharing drinks and stories. His whiteboard is covered with ideas, expansion plans, client names he fought to earn. His phone buzzes. It's a message from his dad. I didn't know how to let go. You were right. I just wasn't ready to admit it. Marcus stares at it for a long time. Then he flips the phone face down, leans back in his chair and smiles. Because he's no longer craving his dad's approval. His dad has his legacy now. How he built it from the ground up. That's Marcus's legacy. And that, guys, is the story. What started as betrayal became a masterclass in resilience and strategy. Marcus didn't need revenge in the traditional sense. He needed to prove something to himself, that he was valuable, that he wasn't just some glorified intern whose existence was tolerated. The crazy thing about this story is that Marcus could have gone down a really dark road. He could have been bitter, could have sabotaged things, could have wanted his old job back, but he didn't. He built something better, something that was entirely his. And here's what really gets me about this. Marcus's dad reached out. He admitted he was wrong. That takes courage. And Marcus chose not to be eaten alive by anger. He moved forward. He built something that matters. That's the part that's actually inspiring. Not the comeuppance his dad experienced. Not even Kyle getting exposed. It's Marcus choosing to create instead of destroy. If you watched this thinking Marcus was the villain, you might want to reconsider. His dad literally told him his time was up. Told him he was kept around out of permission, not respect. And when Marcus left, his dad's response was basically, okay, fine, go. No apology. No attempt to fix it. Just indifference. So Marcus did what a lot of people wish they could do. He built something better without needing anyone's permission. Anyway, if you loved this story, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment telling me what you think Marcus should have done differently. Should he have tried to save the company? Or was walking away the right call? And seriously, if you haven't checked out our other videos, there are some wild family stories on this channel. Family businesses gone wrong. Siblings at war. Parents who play favorites. Parents who regret it too late. Thanks so much for watching Reddit Family Stories. See you in the next one.